Good afternoon, everybody. We'll start the meeting for the protection policy for Monday, June 2nd. It is now 4 p.m. Let the record reflect all members are present. On to approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. All right, before we start regular business today, a little side note. Before we start, I need to inform you, the items we discuss at this meeting and vote on will be a recommendation to the Common Council for final approval. The next Common Council meeting will be on Tuesday, June 10th at 6 p.m. in the room next door. One question that we receive, do you need to attend this Common Council meeting after we have voted on your agenda item? Our vote is a recommendation to Common Council. The items before us may or may not be pulled by future discussion at the Common Council meeting. Your attendance at the Common Council meeting is your sole discretion. Thank you. On to regular business, number 1. Consideration of the possible action on appeal by Natasha Matson regarding denial of her excessive animal permit application. Attorney, or please?
Yeah, I believe Officer Davis is here, I believe also the applicant is here, so whichever you'd like to speak with first.
Officer Manis.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Do you guys have any questions, specific questions?
Can you just give us an outline of what's happening?
Yes, so we had a request to keep more dogs and cats at a premises than the city allows. Part of that process is that we send out neighborhood letters. We did receive several neighborhood letters back in objection, and there was a prior history of animal complaints as well as inspection-related concerns, specifically like interior concerns associated with like condemnation orders. It's just too many animals for the property and too many neighborhood objections to safely approve that without any kind of fallout.
How many animals are there?
I believe that they had requested 4 dogs and 5 cats at that time.
What address is this at?
I believe it was 324 Oakland, South Oakland.
North.
Or North, I'm sorry, North Oakland.
And prior to them applying, there had already been pre-existing complaints about animals and inspection.
Just trying to get them into compliance, letting them know that they needed rabies vaccinations and licenses. That's required by city ordinance and state law. Our community police officer had previously issued orders to require them to vaccinate and license animals. That wasn't done. She then requested I follow up and advise you need to apply for over the limit of animals. You have to vaccinate, you have to license the animals. And it was a lot of people at a property in addition to animals, and that was just a lot of occupants and a lot of animals for the requested premises.
Okay. Do you have a start date to when kind of all of this started?
Not off the top of my head,
Okay.
I don't.
Any other questions for the officer? No?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Make a motion to open the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Natasha Matson, you can come up.
Yeah, Daddy can. Hi.
Hi.
So this is my father, Jim. It's actually his residence. We just moved in with him.
Okay, can you state your name and your address for the record?
Okay, so I'm Natasha Matson, and it's 324 North Oakland Avenue.
Same for you?
Yes, it's James. Last name is Brock. It's also 324 North Oakland.
So how many animals are at the residence currently?
Now we have 3 dogs and 4 cats.
Have they all been licensed,
Yes, sir.
vaccinated?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to say anything as to why you would like to have this ordinance
Sure.
changed here?
The reason we ended up having more animals than we would have liked is because my husband and I had separated, and we ended up having to move back in with my parents. And we had agreed to downsize, so we had gotten rid of some animals. And the one dog that we are trying to keep is my daughter's emotional support animal. Otherwise, I don't know how we were gonna do that. But we have been trying to comply with everything that we're supposed to. We have eliminated the extra people as well. So now it is just my kids and I, and then my parents. So there's, what,
The
3 or 4
fourth
pets.
dog
Yeah,
is, I couldn't even tell you what kind of breed he was. He was a younger dog, and he was the mouth. He would go outside, he would be bark, 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 play, bark, bark, bark. And since we have gotten rid of him, you don't even hear the 3 that we do have. You don't even hear them at all anymore.
When did you get rid of him?
Oh, Lord.
it was at the end of April, so it was shortly after, or before we even got the denial of the first one. We had
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
gotten rid of him.
You said you had a support animal. Do you have documentation for that?
I don't know.
Do you
I
have it or
wouldn't
you just
even know
don't have
how
it?
to go about to get one.
Oh, so it's not a support animal.
I see on your license application, we have Gunner, Daisy, Twinkles, and Yellow.
Yes, that's my father's,
Those are his.
yeah.
Connor, Daisy.
Twinkles and
Twinkles,
Yellow,
right,
yes.
yep.
And you had Pickles, Tucker, Penelope, and Pebbles, and Pappy?
Yes, we no longer have Pebbles, Poppy, or Tucker.
But you have Pickles and Penelope,
Yes, sir.
plus your father's 4 animals,
Yes.
and no others?
No, sir.
What options would you have if this is denied?
To be quite honest, we don't really have one besides to get rid of more animals. I mean, we would hope not. We have been trying to do everything that we can to comply. To, you know,
Were you living within the city limits before moving in with your,
we were living out by Southwest.
oh, by Southwest, okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a permit? Oh, no, you had just the 2 dogs and
Yes.
3 cats, gotcha.
Well,
Okay.
and actually, we didn't have the extra dog.
Okay.
He was a rescue that we had gotten from somebody else.
Okay. Do you have plans to continue to live at this residence?
Yes, because now I take care of my mother.
Okay. Because if what I'm seeing in front of me, if it's 2 separate houses, we wouldn't be having this
Correct,
conversation, but
correct.
we're all living in one
Yes.
house now. Got it.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I had originally planned on moving out. We had my sister stay in there, and that is where like all of the problems had started to begin with.
Okay.
But now she is gone, so we don't have any of the extra foot traffic. We don't have any of the extra anything.
Okay.
It has calmed down significantly a lot.
So, just out of curiosity, the officer brought this up. How many people are living in the house?
In the house now, it's my 3 children and myself, and then my parents.
So 6 people.
Yes.
When did you get the permits and the shots?
It was the beginning of April, so it was like
Okay.
April, I was like the 2nd.
Okay, and
Say it was real.
so you got them to be compliant?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, so everybody's got them. If I would have thought about it, I would have brought the papers, but I didn't even think.
I didn't
I
either.
was just nervous. Sorry.
Do you have any other outstanding inspection issues with the property at the moment?
No.
No? Okay. Okay.
I was working with, I can't even think the guy's name, but for the repairs of the house. But between him and I,
It's,
they're all completed, they're all done and over with.
Okay.
Do you own the building or you're a renter?
he owns it.
You own it?
Yes.
I just asked because there's a thing here from this Bobby saying upstairs from Bobby.
Yeah, the one complaint we have within our packet sounded like an upstairs tenant of,
That probably would have been my sister when my sister was staying up there, but it's a whole house.
Is she still staying there?
No, sir, she's gone.
Any other questions? No, me neither.
Make a motion to close the floor.
All right, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
I see we have Mr. Pappy in the audience, I believe it is.
I also have a question for the officer as well.
Yep. If I could ask Mr. Pappy though,
Yep.
could I ask you?
Yes, fire away.
You know, is this building in compliance?
No, it's still, I still show a pending complaint open from the records I'm looking at right in front of me.
Oh, you do?
Is it a major complaint or is it, are you able to disclose what it is?
Yeah.
We have several ordinance violations that have to be corrected yet, but still does not show to be in compliance that Inspector Mike Van de Wettering is still working through.
Thank you.
Natasha, you
Yes,
can
sir.
have a conversation with them after the meeting.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No problem. So you stated there was multiple complaints and we're only seeing one. Can you
Yes,
Please
so
explain.
we went, it was Officer Castro and I, we did talk to area residents in the neighborhood. They voiced some concerns in addition to the letters that were received. Part of the process is that neighborhood letters do go out. At the time that I received those and then spoke with Natasha and her father, they advised me that they had already reduced the number down to 3 dogs. And I explained that this was denied. The city inspector also denied on that form, and I encouraged her to appeal it. My personal recommendation is if they've reduced the number, I think, down to a more manageable number, which I think in this case 3, and even reduce the number of cats, I would feel comfortable to approve the permit, but not for them to acquire more animals, rescue animals, and just start hauling in animals. I think unfortunately that's where we got into a little bit of an issue where there were neighborhood complaints about barking and that sort of stuff. Obviously, they would need to remedy the inspection-related code violations, but they are in compliance with licensing and vaccinating the current animals that they have, and I would feel comfortable approving what is there at this time, not to exceed that.
So that'd be 3 and 4?
3 dogs, yep, 4 cats.
I was just gonna ask if any complaints, if we know of any complaints post end of April.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so I typically, if there's issues where we send out something, I'll put that permit into holding for 6 months and just see. But like I said, there were inspection-related concerns in addition to this.
Okay.
Thank you.
A question for the attorney's office. Could we put a hold on this for a month or meeting to see if they get their building compliance and everything done and then review it again?
So technically it's 2 separate ordinance violations, and although if those are directly related to the animal issue, I wouldn't know for sure without looking at the inspections related items if they pertain directly to sort of safety, well-being, ability to house the animals. I'm not sure.
The life safety issues that resulted in condemnation in October have been corrected. They were corrected a couple days after. But there are still some outstanding issues that, according to my records here, that show that they need to be corrected. They're not considered life safety, but they are ordinance violations that will affect the overall condition and maintenance of the home. That should be corrected.
So we need to get more information on that. You certainly could hold for the next meeting to make a final decision then. I mean, obviously, it's still just a pending appeal, so nothing changes between now and the next meeting, if that would be helpful.
Could we make a motion just to hold it to the next meeting? Officer Mavis make one more inspection herself of just the animals? And if she approves it, let it go through then?
The next PNP meeting, which is
So I have a
6/16.
question for you too, Attorney.
Yes?
So can we put a cap on the amount of animals that are allowed?
Yeah, so the excess permit that you would, if you did grant the appeal, would be specific to those animals,
The three.
the numbers and the names listed that were part of the application and what is, how the appeal would be granted.
Okay.
I forgot what their names were, but. It's fine, everybody's dogs are.
Okay. So any other questions, comments? Is that your motion over there?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we hold it to the next meeting
All right.
and let Officer Mavis make her inspection at that, between that time, and we would approve the denial once Officer Mavis says everything is up to standard.
And also regarding the inspections too?
Yes, well, I don't think we can.
You could take that last part up to the next meeting. You could just do the first part about holding it and then requesting an additional inspection.
All right, and then they could specifically tell us the names of the pets and.
Yes, I think they would list it at some point, but that'll be in the record.
Okay, I got a-
Yes,
Is that me?
Attorney May, Officer May.
It's back here.
Could I just ask that they file a new cover application with what animals are going to be there permanently? I know they got rid of, what, Tucker? So I don't recall the cat that they got rid of, but like I said, if we could just get that updated, and then I can do my inspection off of that, just so it's a reflective number of what's actually there.
That makes
So
sense to me.
amend that to say that they provide a cover up to date for
Just an
Officer
updated
Mavis.
permit.
Sure, updated list of animals.
And just one quick point of clarification though, you don't typically look for the inspection-related issues when you go, right? You're just checking the condition of?
If there are inspection-related concerns, specifically like a property is condemned, that does affect
Okay.
the quality of life for any animals, and they would prohibit any animals from remaining on the premises. I know we've had a history of that, so usually I'll connect with a community police officer in that district as well as a city inspector.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
A point of order. Can we approve the permit tentatively based on the review of the officer visiting and getting a new cover letter and meeting the permit requirements? And if they satisfy all those, can
Contingent to
staff,
them?
contingent to that, can then staff approve it without coming back, or do we need to come back?
That feels like really, it's heavily contingent upon the approval. So I would say it maybe would be best just to bring it back. I understand what you're trying to do for efficiency purposes. I would say in this case, I would leave it, that would be my recommendation, to leave it as it is now, as opposed to approving it conditioned upon all of those things, because it's several kind of discretionary items.
Okay,
If
thank you.
that makes sense?
Yes.
You could make an argument for both, but I think in this one
Right.
instance, because it's not just like a single, like submittal of a document.
Mhm. Okay.
And are you holding this to the next meeting or the first one in July?
Would,
6/16 is what I thought Alder Morgan had said.
Yep.
that's what I had said, are we gonna have enough time by the 16th
For a follow-up?
for you to have an inspection, Officer
Yes.
Mavis?
Yes, that's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Has it been seconded?
No.
I'm looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Ayes have it.
We have an older that like to speak.
Oh, Alder Eck?
Yeah, so I just want to clarify, because it sounded like there's also this other inspection issue, so I don't think that Alder Morgan's motion didn't really include that, it was more about Officer Mavis, but I thought it
Yeah,
sounded kind of
the
like
inspection-
you wanted both things rectified,
Sure.
so I'm just.
But it sounds like the inspection isn't health related, so, at this time.
I think it's a separate
But it
issue.
was,
Concurrent things, that sometimes are over,
Sure.
the cross, but Officer Mavis, when she checks, she'll work with our inspector, and if there's concerns, we can get them addressed, but that part can be separate from our inspection part. That's pretty common when we could have compliance at two different road rates.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
We did the high thing, right?
Yes, you
Okay.
did. On to the next issue.
Okay. On to number 2, consideration and possible action to approve a limited expansion of the licensed premise for Cock and Bull at 1237 Main Street, described as back parking lot fence for the following date, August 16, 2025. Please,
We have no issue with that.
attorney?
I would concur.
Mr. Greg is here,
Yes.
if you'd like to, Michelle.
Did you want to speak?
No, I'm the cock and bull. I was
Okay.
just wondering if I was gonna get yelled at or.
No? All right, we're gonna vote now, so.
Mr. Greg.
A motion to approve. I told you you'd have my support, so.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. All right, recommendation for approval, sir.
Going to council.
You're the best.
On to number 3, consideration of possible action to approve a limited extension of license premise for Rosetta Pizza at 746 Huron Road, described as tent on the outside area on the side of the building for extra standing room for June 28th. Attorney?
I don't have objections.
Please.
Please concur.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. On to number 4, consideration of possible action on the listed renewal alcohol beverage license application pending the approval of the proper authorities. We do have that attachment. Is it like 25 on there?
Yeah, I just have one question. I think there might be a misspelling of a last name potentially on that attachment. All of the Family Dollars appear to have the same agent, except one of them is missed. But other than that, I mean, I'm assuming it's the same individual. The 1285 Main Street seems to be the,
Misspelling of the last name
perhaps.
and the title of the document, because I,
I don't have the,
okay,
so I'm assuming that it's fine on the actual document, right? I would assume.
right.
Got it.
The title, on the document, sometimes it doesn't always translate the title of the document when
Okay.
we save it, but,
It's the agent's last name is spelled wrong, different on that one than the other ones.
okay.
But I'm
I'll-
assuming on the
I'll
actual
take a
form.
look at that.
Motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Was there any
Oh, yeah.
comment?
Oh, sorry.
No,
Good.
I think the list has been vetted by both. I would just add that the recommended list of non-renewals will be submitted to council for the June 10th council meeting, just for everybody as a reminder that non-renewals don't go through committee, they go right to council. So if you're not on this list, perhaps it's a non-renewal, or you're one of the many who haven't applied or hasn't sent their renewal application in, who are running out of time to get their renewal approved before the end of the licensing year.
Okay. Police, do you concur?
Yes.
Okay.
That's everything
Okay.
she says.
Take a motion to approve. Go ahead.
I do.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. All right, on to number 5, consideration.
Stevens, just to let you know, there are 2 people who are online.
Oh, we can't see them.
Right. I don't know if they're. So we have owner and iPhone. So I'm presuming that iPhone 15 and owner can hear us. We're on to the next portion of the agenda with the massage establishment licenses. So if we are discussing your item, please unmute yourself and speak so we can recognize you and hear you. Thank you. Go ahead, Alder Stevens.
All right, on to number 5, consideration of possible action on the 2025-26 massage establishment license renewal for 111 High Street Riverside Massage Therapy. Attorney?
I have no objections, but would defer to the police department as they do the review.
The police have no issues with Spence Street.
Any questions or comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. On to number 6, consideration of possible action on the 2025-26 massage establishment license renewal at 1315 West Mason Ping Health Center. Attorney?
Would defer to PD to provide some additional background, but I don't generally have an objection.
On this one, we had one complaint of unwanted sexual advances. The officer looked into it. We could not substantiate the complaint. When talking to the therapist, it was a dispute over the dollar amount that was being left as a tip. So that's the only thing we had on that, an unsubstantiated complaint.
Okay, any questions? Alder Eck?
For this particular establishment, I do want to say for the record, and I did email all of you information, that I did find that they do advertise on the Rub Maps website. So on page 7 of our ordinance under 1D, the licensee or any massage therapist, bodywork therapist, or other employees of the establishment has advertised for any massage therapy, bodywork therapy, or related services to be performed at the establishment that involves sexual acts or any contact with the intimate parts of any person, except such contact that is acceptable under state law. So based on that one, I just have concerns, because they are advertising on a website. And I didn't read the top part where it's saying these are grounds for denial.
Alder, do you have the date that you saw that? Was it recent?
Yesterday,
Okay, so June, what is today?
June 1st.
June 1st, okay, just for the record.
Lieutenant Mahoney, any comments?
We are aware that they are on that website. There are many other businesses on that website. When our officer looked, we did not see that they were advertising specific sexual services. That's why, like I said, we only had the one unsubstantiated complaint. So that's why we're just giving you the information that we have.
This is an establishment that has been operating with a license. This is a renewal, right? Has there
That is
been
correct.
compliance checks throughout the year on this location?
I could pull it up. I know we did random compliance checks. I don't know if they were one of the ones we did the random check on.
Okay.
I don't want to say target. We don't pick certain spots. We randomly check them. So, like I said, the only thing we had was a complaint from 2024 that we couldn't substantiate.
Okay.
Was that you said 2024?
I
Because I believe there was a call made in 2025 in March of 2025 on the tip line. Where they felt sexually assaulted.
I guess when you say tip line,
It was an anonymous tip line.
which tip line?
I don't know.
I guess.
I was told by PD that it was an anonymous tip line, so I don't know specifically, maybe the one that Alder Morgan's part of. What's that one called?
Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, I think it was Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, I am, without digging into it more, I'm not seeing that. Our officer did his review on May 8th of this year, so approximately a month ago. So if it happened between then and now, I'm basing everything off of when our officer reviewed it on May 8th.
That number that's listed isn't anywhere.
Okay, discussion?
If we would hold this up to give PD more time to investigate that, does that affect if they can ever get their license, or it stops their business immediately, or what?
So what I had emailed the current license holders, if they were not new but renewing, that given the delays experienced in my office, that they would be valid license holders until after the next council meeting, which is next Tuesday, of course. So if you hold this up, that would be up to PD as to whether or not they're going to shut them down, because according to what we have agreed and I've discussed, they would not have a valid license after 6/10/25.
And statutorily, we don't have the ability to shut down
we can liquor places because state statute for liquor grants us the authority. Any place that's non-liquor, where the PD can't go in there and say you must shut down. We would have to start seeking to get a court order or an injunction to tell them they have to shut down. So it's not like we could go in on the day of the 10th and say, you're shut down. They could stay open, we would just cite them for being open without the license.
Are you here for what item?
I'm just listening. Yeah.
Okay, just
I'm not on the
listening.
list.
Is there anybody online for this item?
So the only thing I would say, Alder Morgan, to your comment, like, I appreciate the thought about holding it, but it doesn't sound like there's any more PD could do. It was only like 30 days ago when they did the review. So unfortunately, maybe that tip line item didn't make it to the right report. I'm not sure, Alder Eck. But without a substantiated reason to deny, I don't know what else we would do in that time frame for this one.
If there was a substantiated complaint to say Crime Stoppers, whatever, and through an investigation you found it merited something, would that change the PD's, do you think? Okay.
If it was substantiated, knowing it's not something I could tell you we would be able to substantiate in a week.
Right.
If we did substantiate that, we would probably come back in front of you to seek revocation of their license at that point, because we were able to substantiate something. Right now, is it something that, I guess, I don't want to say gives us concern, but is it something that's, I guess, a tool or a flag that we will monitor? Absolutely. But until we could prove something, I guess we won't bring it forward to you guys for your consideration until we could prove it.
Yeah, and I will just say, I mean, I appreciate the work that was done to look at it, but the phone number and the business name is not the same. So I have a hard time looking at a denial for this when the LLC is different, the phone number, when I search the phone number, nothing concerning comes up with that phone number. I mean, I know why we've looked at this in the past, and I know why we've made denials and revocations on that basis before. But again, like I've said before with these, I want to be really careful from the city perspective that we're not doing any type of overreach either. So I have a hard time disagreeing with PD, who's recommending approval, and legal recommending approval. So I don't know what holding it for 2 more weeks is going to do. It doesn't change the fact that their application has a phone number and an LLC that does not populate on these websites. The address, historically, yes, but it could be a different legitimate business owner that is doing this, so I don't.
I just want to add, I understand that the license is under the Ping Healthcare Center LLC, but the outside of the building on the window says Q Spa. So it matches, and the address matches to that website. So they're doing business as one thing, but they have their LLC under a different name, which obviously affects the ability to research it a little bit, but either way, it does say Q on, and the light is lit up. It's not an old sign, it's a current sign. So they are going, I know it's either Q or QQ or Ping Healthcare. All 3 of them have been used.
So with that comment, has inspections done, because hasn't that held up historically, previous ones, if the naming on the building is different than the application?
Could, yeah, if
Yeah,
we look at the application and what's listed on the site plan. If it doesn't match, we flag it, we let it know, but there would be nothing stopping them from having to.
And to be clear, the ordinance does not say that inspection visits them every year,
Okay,
not as it's currently written.
okay.
If this is approved tonight, when it comes to council, could it be pulled separately if we find something in between that we question?
On Tuesday? Absolutely, you can pull it.
Or we could deny this and still pull it?
You can.
Because if they're advertising Q and their application is not showing doing business as.
No, I just still have a hard time disagreeing with PD's recommendation on this one. So I'll make a motion.
Have you looked up, have you looked up Q?
Us?
Yeah.
No, we do our background based on the application that we receive. That's That's the PD's part in this whole, whatever information we see on the application, that's what we do our renewal check on.
No matter what's stated on the building, correct?
Yeah, I mean,
So we have a flaw in our ordinance, possibly?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, the application, you have the application in your packet. I can't get to it right now. But it does say what the business name is, and if they are a corporation, then what that corporation's name is. So,
Are they allowed to advertise different on the building?
well, I mean, many companies have names and then they're doing business as, that's kind of how many companies do things. So I couldn't tell you about that one in particular, because I don't have it, I can't pull it in front of me.
Thank you. I'm on the fence on this.
We have a revocation process in place. If new evidence that changes PD's mind, Officer Mahoney said if anything new came to light, you would bring forward a revocation, right?
yeah, yes, and we will look over this week. If a Crime Stoppers tip came in, I'll contact our Crime Stoppers people and look into that to see what the tip was. And if it could be substantiated or not. Once again, then we'll present that and let you alders make your decision.
Any other discussion?
Just for clarification, I don't see a reference to Q-Spa on the application, as I'm seeing it, so certainly, I think as the clerk pointed out, inspections aren't done for every establishment on the renewal, so if we wanted to submit that to inspections to follow up on, I guess they certainly could.
We have Ping Health Center LLC that was listed on the application. That was in our file.
So you're saying you did the inspection then? For Ping?
Ping Health Center LLC, 1515.
You're looking at the 24 application?
Last year.
Yeah,
Oh,
last year.
okay, last year. Sorry, I didn't hear that properly. Thank you.
So I would suggest if it's actually a different name this year, it's not a renewal. You think it's a different name? Yeah, I don't.
They submitted, you know, again, I personally don't go and
Mhm.
even Google Earth this, right? It's not
Yeah.
part of the process. Could be, but it isn't right now.
So clarification, I'm gonna pull up, was it Q last year? Because then I would, hold on.
I can look at that. Let me just stop sharing.
No, it was Ping last year.
It was Ping last year?
It was.
So if it's Q this year, then this is not a renewal.
No, it's the same license application, it's just the sign is the wrong name.
And Q's been on it for
Yeah.
over a year, so it was on it last year as well.
So you said the same thing, I said, and I interpreted what you said wrong. So we're back to the point that it's a signage issue. And you are correct that there was one that we flagged their inspections issue among other items that the sign was incorrect last year, so.
But it was a compounding issue. And if this
It
is an
was.
LLC, I mean, I personally know of a bar that operates under one LLC right on Washington here and is a different name. So I'm gonna hold my motion to approve. I don't think I got a second though, so.
Do you have a second?
Well, is there a motion?
Yeah, I made a
Yeah,
motion to
approve.
approve.
Oh. Guess I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Nay.
2-2.
Advances without a recommendation.
Let me know when you're ready.
We're on 321, exhilaration.
On to number 7, considerates possible action on the 25-26 massage establishment license renewal for 321 South, or St. George. Okay. Attorney?
No objections, we defer to PD for their background information.
The police have no objections.
Any questions or comments?
This is a renewal?
Yes. These are all renewals today.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay, ayes have it. So we have another one for 321 St. George again?
Yes, it's a different suite, but yes.
Okay. What's number 8? Attorney?
Same response, no objection.
The police concur.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. On to consideration of the possible action on the 25-26 massage establishment license renewal for 810 South Maple Power Massage by Hope.
No objections.
Please concur.
Thank you.
Motion approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. Ayes have it. On to consideration of the possible action on the 25-26 massage establishment license renewal at 1566 West Mason. Swedish massage, Egos.
No objections.
Please concur.
Motion
All
approved.
right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Consideration of the possible action on the 25-26 massage establishment license renewal at 825 South Huron Road. Elite Spa. Staff?
No objections.
Please concur.
Okay. Motion?
Motion approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. So,
All right.
okay. Item number 12, to approve updates to the professional service contract with Elite or E-Plan exam, including coinciding updates needed to the Green Bay municipal ordinances. Attorney?
Yeah, I'd actually defer to Scotty from inspections, because this is his agreement and correlating ordinance changes for E-Plan to do permit reviews for us.
Okay, perfect.
So we're doing three things. First, I have Gabe Maddox, owner and president of E-Plan Exam. They've been working with us since March of last year. Relationship is fantastic, working very, very well. What we'd like to do is we'd like to update and add plumbing plan review to that contract, as well as getting delegated authority through the state of Wisconsin for variances, which would apply to both commercial building, HVAC, as well as fire. And then the last part of that would be changing an ordinance change that allows for plan review, commercial plan review for buildings regardless of size. So the issue that we have right now is the state of Wisconsin has four criteria that requires expanded plan review. If we get a building that falls under those criteria, that wouldn't need plan review. Simply our ordinance right now states that they would need to just issue a permit, just get a permit. That causes issues in the field for inspection. We would rather be proactive, to have a plan in place to make sure if there is any issues with the design build or possible code issues, compliance issues, I'd rather catch them on the front end rather than building a building or structure and then come to find out that we could have caught something, but we simply didn't have a plan in place. So that's the purpose of that ordinance update. So any questions?
What's the cost for this?
Cost for the city
Yeah,
in terms of,
going over this E-Plan.
we've been with them for quite some time.
Okay.
It has created a lot more efficiencies for us in terms of revenue. You could make it, right now, I think in the last year, it's right around about $20,000 that we brought in with doing the plumbing plan review ourselves. Fortunately, I just lost a inspector, a plumbing and HVAC inspector, went to another municipality, so I'm in that recruitment. So right now, we don't have the capacity to do that in-house, so that would either go to the state or we would lose that revenue irregardless. Looking at the data, it's probably, the city's probably operating more at a loss for doing that plan review if by doing it in-house because of the time it takes our staff to be able to sit down and do a plan. Could we do it? Yes, but we did bring in $20,000, but when you factor in the staff time away from inspections, away from enforcement, away from catching projects that are potentially unpermitted, It's kind of a, what are we getting here? This relationship with DA and E-Plan allows us to work much more efficiently, so the inspectors can spend more time in the field handling permits, inspections, and enforcement, as well as generating revenue for the city, which I believe is 5% of a return back. So ultimately, when you look at it, if you're looking at it strictly revenue-based, it'd be more beneficial for the city to have an inspector out issuing enforcement action, making sure, unpermitted activities are getting in for permitting, because those would be revenue generating at a much more cost-effective service rate than it would be extensive plan review.
If I may as well, to help answer your question, from the variance aspect, today, the city of Green Bay does not have that authority. So all variance reviews have to be done at the state level, and you are unable to capture any of that revenue. This would enable you to capture that revenue that previously you can't touch today. So this would introduce a new revenue stream back to the city of Green Bay that we could then basically redistribute back to the city of Green Bay as part of that 5% piece. And these are typically for mission critical, high profile projects, which are oftentimes now massively delayed by the state. And we're talking on complex issues that are 30, 40, 60 days out. So the Procter & Gamble facility, they had to go through a variance that took 45 days at the state. That's 45 days that we could have truncated significantly by being able to do that in-house with City of Green Bay Metro Fire Department as well as the Green Bay Building Inspection Team, and then getting the state to do a peer review as part of that process. So I've already spoken with the state as well as the City of Green Bay team. Pending the council's review, the state is looking forward to handing the City of Green Bay the keys to basically take this on, once again, pending our approval.
Makes sense.
So what I was giving you was the example I was giving you, Older Stevens was 20, that's just for plumbing.
Yeah.
So that's just step one. So there's a multi-layered approach, but the relationship has been very, very effective and beneficial for the city. Created a lot more efficiencies, helps to get things turned around at a much quicker pace and inspected thoroughly.
And this is a contract we're already under with them?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, we're
How
just
long?
amending the contract.
Okay, how long is that agreement currently at? Like, is it a
3
year?
years.
Yeah.
3 years? Okay.
Yes, we're about a year and a few months into it already.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
Do we need this gentleman's name for the record?
Oh, I think, he said, I thought he said.
Oh,
his name
yeah,
before, but-
sorry. My full name is David Adam John Maddox. I live at W143 and 5284 St. Andrews Court, Menominee Falls, Wisconsin.
Kind of wherever that is.
I'm the president, owner, and founder of E-Plan Exam.
Oh, well, thank you for.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I should
I
have,
thought I heard your name, but then I realized Bill's name.
yeah, I go by DA Maddox, so to truncate all that down.
There's no other questions.
Any other questions?
Well, just,
Yeah, let's ask our civil engineer.
yeah, so generally, what's happening? What does this mean? So are we hiring a contractor to review these plans on our behalf, and then they do, and then that frees up our staff to do other stuff?
Correct. That's what
Okay.
we did last year. So about a year and a half ago or so, actually December of 2023, there was a staff change where the chief building official was no longer with the city. So during that time, we looked at what was that job doing. Job duties and job descriptions changed. E-Plan Exam filled that portion of the role and created a lot of efficiencies for us. Not only turnaround time, but in the product that was receiving. So DA's company, E-Plan, any commercial structure, HVAC, and now plumbing plan review, if a project's coming in, they would review the plan for us.
Okay.
So they set the table. Once the plan is approved and reviewed, they give it to us. We handle the permit gets in place, and then we go out and inspect it.
Okay, so
much
in-
like 221 Cherry Street, the new land project, that was reviewed by DA and their team.
And each applicant, when they come in the door, they have a path of choice. They can choose to go to the state, pay the state's fees, and wait in line at the state as they have always done. And the state shoots for 30 days out. They actually average 60 to 80 days out through our open records requests. We guarantee by contract with the city of Green Bay 15 days, and we have not
Okay.
ever breached that in
Okay.
the last 6 years of our company's existence after 180 million square foot review. If they come to the city of Green Bay, then we expedite that project, guarantee the 15 days. We work in partnership with all city of Green Bay staff, give them full transparency to our systems, walk them through that entire process. basically conditionally approve all the projects or deny them, whatever the end result happens to be, and ultimately work through every single project as it's coming through the door.
Okay, and they're still controlled by the city?
Yep.
Okay, so you,
Basically, I'm getting 25 experts.
right,
versus
okay.
one.
Okay,
So the thoroughness of the review and the time, the efficiency, the life safety, all of those factors, it's a win-win for the city, the residents, everything that.
okay. And then the responsibility of the review, are there things in place to make sure if there's a skip or flaw or whatever, that's handled by our contractor, or does the city handle that?
In terms of like, there's a violation. or
There's
like
something was misdesigned
Oh.
and,
I think that's what he's getting at.
Yeah, so like if they did something,
yeah, their review missed something.
hopefully we would catch it in the field.
Okay.
To correct it. That's the premise of having the inspectors in place.
Okay.
But as far as if that were to get missed, I would have to, we'd have to. look
Okay,
at
it doesn't
what-
seem to be an issue that you've come across.
No.
Okay,
I can help out a little bit more with this. So if there's ever an issue, and I can name 5 total in our company's history after 7,000, we basically work in partnership with our communities to try and rectify the issue if at all possible.
okay,
If nothing else, the city of Green Bay, at the city's request, and you're our only client who's requested this, we've actually upped our insurance limits because of the city of Green Bay.
Oh.
So you actually specifically carry a much higher insurance umbrella than all of our other clients. You specifically, all their elected individual employee are actually a part of our named insured as well.
okay.
So as part of our policy, I'd love to be underneath that nice warm blanket of
Right.
immunity that the city employees are, but we're not, we're a private company. So we have to make sure that we have an aggressive quality assurance and quality control piece in place. So every single project that's a large caliber, we always make sure that we have 2 sets of eyes on, so that way when we're all said and done, we try to make sure we give a good quality product to the inspectors at the end of the day. But we try to empower them to give them free and limited code consultations, not only them, but anyone who seeks to develop in our communities that we serve, ask us questions along the way so that way we iron out all issues. In our eyes, it's a heck of a lot easier to change lines on paper than it is to move a column in the field. So this is what we try to go through and what we've been, I think, fairly successful at in our years of history, especially here in the city of Green Bay, working on the projects that we have had the privilege of working on. So we're just extending this, what we have done for the building HVAC and fire side, to the plumbing aspect as well.
Okay, well, you've answered my question well.
Knock on wood, we don't have any
Yeah.
problems, so.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Well, that sounds like a good idea. You brought up something good this time.
Try to. I know I'm usually the bearer of bad news.
Yep.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we approve the update.
Well, actually come here as an interpreter, but I do work as an architect and submit plans. Question is this E-plan. Let's just say as an
I
architect.
don't need to open the
designer-
floor because we hired him, right?
Well, he's not hired for this purpose, so.
Yeah, I just, yes, I'm
You
just
probably
questions.
should open the
Mo-
floor.
hold
Motion
on,
on the
Mo-
floor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Okay, now you can talk.
My question is with the E-plan, okay, so I submit plan as a designer, sometimes I don't agree with the plan reviewer, and they're asking more than usually other state or city building inspector asks. I have a few projects. At the end, as an architect, designer, okay, we just want to argue, waste of time only. So sometimes, again, as an architect, we don't agree totally with the plan review, and I just don't know where we can, bring up this disagreement.
Well, that would be me. So here's my card. I will tell you this, and this is how I trained all of our employees.
Okay.
We select our company culture very carefully. And I always tell people, if you ever bring us an issue, we're going to assume that we're wrong and reprove that we're right. Because we always want to educate people. Because there's a lot of times that you've encountered state inspectors that they like to preach and tell people this is the way it is, and that you just say with a certain amount of authority in your voice and do what the inspector tells you to do and never ask questions, right? Our goal is to try and educate, this is the reason why, and this is how it is in the code, because there's a danger to the reasons if you don't do it. So I'll stick around a little bit if you, I don't know when you are on your agenda, but let's touch base with you a little more on some challenges I'm running into, for sure.
And sir, can I have your name and address, please?
My,
Yes.
first name G-H-E-E, last name O-N-G. Address is 537 Creekview, one word Lane, Alberton, and 54915.
Thank you.
Sorry, I thought we had that.
Motion to close the floor?
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank you for
Yes. I
coming.
think-
We needed, I think, some explanation.
Yeah, I think this next one's them too.
Yep.
Okay, then don't leave.
Other than-
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't still want it. Okay, you ready? Consideration of possible action to approve GO 1225 related to Commercial Building Inspection Authority.
So this is the correlating ordinance change. So I'll tell you more about that, but we're required to make some adjustments in the ordinance to allow this process to carry forward.
Oh, okay.
So this is the third step. So this is adding ability to get a plan and us review it regardless of size. So this adds a proactive approach versus reactive. So right now, in order for us to require plan review, we have to meet the state of Wisconsin thresholds. We, correct me if we jump in here, we have 50,000 cubic feet. And
Yeah, plan threshold size is kicking at 25,000 cubic foot for certain types of occupancies, but when you start dealing with new construction, there's a concern that you could have some certain types of occupancies that you really do want to take a look at that are higher hazard or that you really should just kick in at any size regardless of type of building. We actually had it happen in one of our other communities that we actually consulted with your city attorneys on, and it kind of red flagged the ordinance review as part of a separate process altogether. Said, hey, we should probably look at updating the ordinance at the same time as part of this. So just be proactive.
allows us to be a much more proactive and safer approach. So rather catch stuff on the front end than let something get 3/4 of the way built and then all of a sudden the developer or the owner has to make some significant changes and to get it code compliant.
I think in this case, you're learning from a mistake that the city of Rhinelander made among their ordinances.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. On to number 14, consideration of possible action on the approval of GO 1525 related to license applications. Those inspections again?
No.
Oh,
So this is related to alcohol licensing. It's just a modification that's actually an addition. We're amending Chapter 4 to include a section on full-service retail outlets. This is due to a state law change. So manufacturers like a breweries now, they're now permitted to have retail outlets, but they have to go through a process to get municipal approval plus state approval. So this just adds that process to our ordinance. Again, just a new provision under state law in Chapter 125, and it went into effect
Last year.
Yeah, the change.
questions?
So this is allowing them to serve under a different type of license?
No, what it allows them to do is, well, yes, sorry, the short answer is yes. It allows them to, as a producer, instead of going to the state to get this license, which is what they had to do, they can come to the municipality and get that. And they can serve in a brick and mortar retail outlet, or they can serve at like a special event.
Okay.
And then that's what the application is for.
So you saw the approval for
Noble Roots.
Noble Roots, and now we're just sort of getting that into the ordinance because we've seen a couple of them. And this also, the change also will allow it to be done at a staff level so that each one doesn't have to come to council.
Okay.
If it doesn't fall under this temporary section. Temporary will, a staff level, the permanent
Right.
retail establishments still go to council.
So if Noble Roots wanted to have a brick and mortar store at the Associated Bank building, that would come to council, but if they want to come and be at Bart Street, that would be administrative, like the permits are.
So if If it's something that's gonna be around for a long time, then it has to come to council. Okay, got it,
But a special event, that would just be administrative.
okay.
Do they still need like their Class B liquor and everything too?
No, so
This
it's,
is a different-
they already have a producer permit from the
Okay.
state, and this is just saying, yes, I can come and
Sell it.
sell at the special event, that's administrative, or take over the Associated Bank building. And I know that'd be fun. I'm not saying that that's happening, but
Oh,
that would
dang.
be an example of a brick and mortar
Okay,
store that
so-
would have to go through council.
So I just want to run through that really quick. So
Yeah.
if someone were to take up and sell liquor in there, they could apply for this instead of like a Class B liquor?
Because they're a producer, and that would be their retail outlet. Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
and that would be Class
Or
A.
A, okay,
Most likely,
got it,
yeah.
got it.
The clarification being you first have to be the producer.
Right.
Like
Thank you.
Noble Root says,
Right.
you can't just
Thank
be
you.
someone selling it
Like
at
a-
retail.
right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Does police
That would be
still,
back in the
does
Class A.
police still have to approve it too?
For them to, so they're already a producer, so they already have a license with the state. And then as, you know, currently the process, as an administrative process, picnic permits
They
don't go through, don't go through
Special
PD.
events do though.
But
Yeah,
only if there is a special event.
Yeah, only if it's a
Right.
special event.
Because like normally the PD would inspect, they have the proper fencing and stuff like that.
Only if there's a special event, and only if it's a Class B that wants to have its own special event versus like on Broadway that has a beer tent.
Right.
So is this creating more liquor licenses in a way? At more locations?
Potentially, if there were brick and mortar,
Yeah, if they're brick and mortar.
then there would be more alcohol being sold by producers, that is accurate. But for a special event, I would say that the answer is no, because in the past, a brewery, for instance, if they were gonna bring up their truck and sell off the truck, those little spigots, I guess, that they
Yeah.
have, then they would have to get that through the state. So that's a lot more paperwork than actually coming to the clerk's office.
Okay,
So yes and
okay,
no.
okay. I mean, accomplishes the same thing. Okay, thank you.
All right, do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Thank you.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay, on to informational, Green Bay Police Department violation report for liquor and massage establishments.
All right, from May 8th, do you need my name?
No.
Okay. From May 8th, 2025 to May 29th, 2025, there's been one liquor violation, no DA referrals, one citation, no massage violations, and 2 property referrals. As far as the citation, on 4/11/2025, officers were monitoring the business of 231 North Broadway, which is stage 1, when a large disturbance occurred. A property referral was completed, as well as a citation issued to owner for disorderly house or failure to maintain order. On 5/13/2025, officers observed a large group in the road in front of Taste Bar, which parties indicated was a disturbance that originated in the bar. Property referral was done and the bar owner was notified.
Do you have the address for that taste bar?
Taste Bar,
It's on the corner I know it's just south of West Walnut.
It's near Walnut?
It's on
Broadway
Broadway.
and Walnut.
Broadway, just south of Walnut.
114 South Broadway.
All
No
right.
problem, I just,
Thank you.
So what's happening with stage 1 currently?
I think it's fine.
That's one of the letters that will be coming to full council recommending non-renewal.
And that's coming,
Tuesday.
10.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
going to common council.
Yes,
Yes.
for alcohol and massage, both non-renewals go direct there. A list to approve, with consideration to approve them to be sent out, to be sent a notice.
And is there any massage ones going
Yes,
for non-approval?
yes.
Okay.
Everything that hasn't been approved to date.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my
How many?
head.
Which ones? How many?
Half a dozen, six
6
or
or
7.
7. I think there's 7. Yep.
Oh, for now, okay.
Yep, and maybe 2 alcohol.
Correct.
Yeah, the
And
two.
2 alcohol. Boy, we're gonna be busy.
At council.
Just bringing the cappuccino.
Yeah, so just a reminder, the non-renewal list is just to approve us to send the notice. Then if they appeal, there's a quasi-judicial hearing that'll take place at a following meeting.
Oh,
So a little bit of a change, and I'll explain that again when they come on Tuesday. It's a change from maybe how you might be familiar with how we do alcohol last time, but when we updated chapter 4, we changed that to a direct to council, so we don't have like what seems like a repeat hearing at committee, at council
Right,
multiple
right.
times. So these again, just permission to send out a notice, which would then put the owner obviously on notice, it's the purpose of a notice, but to attend, to file an appeal if they're interested in doing so, and then to attend subsequent meetings when it's scheduled.
so that will be addressed at subsequent council meetings.
Yeah, if there is an appeal. Yep, but the
If
list
there's
itself.
appeal.
Yep, the
If
list, the list themselves are coming to council on the 10th.
Okay, so then if there's no follow-up, it just happens and we don't see it again? Like,
If they don't appeal.
if they don't appeal?
Yes.
Okay.
And they are not renewed.
Yep, not renewed, and it will, at the end of that 10-day period, they will be considered, or it'll be the end of their license.
Okay, okay. Got it.
Any other questions?
I see some of them have late June court appearances. Would they then be held at the second meeting in June?
Which, are
I'm
you looking at
the spa
alcohol?
ones now are 6/18 on, thought I saw some in the liquor rooms too.
Yeah, I know on one of the alcohol establishments, there's some
Yeah,
pending.
6/12, there's
charges.
one for one of them.
Yeah, not sure. It'll just depend on the timing. So once if they're approved and then the notice goes out, there's a 10-day period, so we just have to look at the calendar of that and how that corresponds if they would get on the next meeting. I think they should based on our schedule. There's obviously some urgency into doing non-renewals, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to receive and place on file?
That was-
Or do the liquor license one?
Clerk's office liquor license report.
Right, so Deputy Menke is off today, obviously, that's why I'm here. And so she compiled this report of the liquor licenses up until the point that we created the agenda, not when I published it, which ones had not yet filed a renewal application. So they obviously still have time to come in and give us a renewal, but many are late.
Have any followed up since this?
We always follow up.
Well, I mean, has the status
So-
changed since this posting? For any?
Very slightly.
Okay.
A few have come in since, like I said, this is from about a week and a half ago. But very few.
Okay, any other questions, comments? No? Motion to, oh, we don't need to, right?
No, just, yeah.
All right.
Okay, on to, next meeting is June 16th at 6 PM, or 4 PM.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
See you later. Bye.